All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to talk about Mike Evans and him reaching 1,000 yards once again in his career. Also, a discussion that my friends and I had on Sunday watching the games, and also, Antoine Winfield, while Mike Evans was being interviewed, said Mike Evans right now, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer. I mean, he's been one of the most consistent wide receivers, since he was drafted back in 2014, which, I mean, I can't believe how long ago that was. And that was a great rookie. I mean, if you remember that rookie draft class. Now, some of the receivers aren't as good as they were. But, you had Mike Evans, you had Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, he was unbelievable his first couple of seasons. Obviously, Davante Adams, he wasn't great off the bat. I mean, he had a good rookie season, but, Packers fans wanted him out of Green Bay his second year. But then, we know what happened after that. You had Sammy Watkins, who had his, a good rookie season as well. There was a ton of rookie receivers. I'm trying to remember who else was in that rookie draft class. I know those are the main four that I could think of. I know I might be missing some, but actually we'll look at that quickly. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, that was a really good wide receiver class. 2014. Again, feels like forever ago. Let's see. I'm gonna look. Okay, so you had Davante Adams, Odell Beckham Jr., Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, Jarvis Landry, Jordan Matthews, John Brown, Sammy Watkins, Kelvin Benjamin. Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin was good too his rookie season, but then he really fell off. You also had Willie Snead, Alan Hearns, Albert Wilson. I mean, those were undrafted free agents. But yeah, I mean, the main ones are obviously OBJ, Davante Adams, Mike Evans. Oh, they didn't even put Mike Evans on here. That's weird. Because I just looked it up on Safari. But yeah, Jarvis Landry was good. I mean, Brandon Cooks is still, he's a solid receiver, but he's not, how he was the first, couple of years he was in the NFL. But again, still a serviceable wide receiver. But yeah, that was a really good draft class. And Mike Evans has been a part of that. He's been consistent, pretty much, every year that he's been, throughout his career. And it's just interesting because, he's been so consistent, and the quarterbacks that he's played with. So I looked up, his stats with each quarterback, and there was, an article that had that. So we go all the way back to Mike Glennon, he started out with. So with Mike Glennon, 38 catches on 62 targets, 590 yards, 6 touchdowns, 15.5 yards per reception. Josh McCown, 49 catches on 90 targets, 729 yards, 8 touchdowns, 14.9 yards per reception. Then Jameis Winston, from 2015 to 2019, 356 catches on 645 targets, 5,000 yards receiving, 34 touchdowns, 15.7 yards per reception. Then Ryan Fitzpatrick, 67 catches on 120 targets, 1,100 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns, 17.4 yards per reception. Blaine Gabbert had 2 catches on 3 targets, 34 yards, 17 yards per reception. Tom Brady, of course, 221 yards, 221 catches on 350 targets, 3,165 yards, 33 touchdowns, 14.3 yards per reception. Then most recently, Baker Mayfield, 61 catches on 103 targets, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 16.6 yards per reception. Obviously, Mike Evans got over that mark. Had a big game on Sunday, had that 75-yard touchdown. It was the 91st career touchdown, tying him for 13th place in league history. This is the 10th consecutive season that he's achieved the milestone. Only Jerry Rice has more 1,000 yards receiving, accomplishing the feat 14 times. And he talked about, and Mike Evans talked about in his interview at the end of the game. He's had a lot of great teammates over the years. He credits them, of course. And he's a great player. And listen, got a Super Bowl championship. The consistency. I mean, listen, the fact that he's been able to do this with the many quarterback changes that he's had to deal with over the course of his career, that has to factor in, too, when it comes to him, when he, hangs it up and, he's up to be a Hall of Famer, whenever he's eligible. Because you look at other receivers like DeAndre Hopkins too, like, what he's been able to do with the quarterbacks that he's had over the years too. And he was consistent as well. But every year, I mean, Mike Evans, when he finally got Tom Brady, it was like, he was still good. I mean, listen, he's been good with pretty much every quarterback that he's played with. I mean, he's had 1,000 yards with every quarterback he's played with. Every season he's been in the NFL. But, when he got Tom Brady, it was like, okay, here we go. Like, this is, you finally got a quarterback that's not really going to turn the ball over. And, it took some time for them to, get used to each other, but they figured it out, and, hey, they won a Super Bowl championship together. The following season was just as good, too. They fell a little bit short, but, that Brady-Bucks era was insane that actually happened. And they won a Super Bowl. Mike Evans is, let's see what, the Bucks can do, obviously. They're still in it, for the NFC South. I mean, they still got a shot at the wild card, but I don't think that's going to happen. But, credit to Mike Evans. And Mike Evans has been, he's dealt with some injuries. He's missed some games, throughout his career, but he's still been able to get that 1,000-yard mark. And, the consistency has always been there. Again, no matter who's been throwing him the football. And, we'll see what happens going forward. Because the other thing, too, is he didn't sign an extension. That was the other thing, too, that I saw, and I forgot about, is the fact that he didn't sign an extension with the Bucs, before the year started. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Is he going to stick around in Tampa? Because Tampa's obviously, they're taking a step back now. Obviously, with Brady retiring. I mean, Baker, I think, has done a nice job, but I don't think he's, unfortunately, me being a Baker Mayfield fan, I don't think he's the long-term answer at quarterback. The Bucs are probably going to have to, draft one. And they got some retooling they got to do, and maybe you need a head coaching change as well. With Todd Bowles being the current head coach at the moment, they got to fix up maybe revamp the, well, not maybe, but they got to revamp the defense a little bit. But I mean, we'll see. There's still some season left. I mean, right now I'm leaning towards taking the Falcons, and I'll be okay if I lose that game. But I can't pick the Bucs, unfortunately, this week. But they picked up a big win, and Mike Evans was a huge part of that. And even, I mean, last year with Tom Brady at quarterback, I think he only had 6 touchdowns on the season, but right now I think he has 10. But again, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna, criticize, Tom Brady because, listen, like, the first 2 years were really special in Tampa. It's last year that, obviously the wheels kind of fell off a little bit. I mean, they dealt with injuries on the offensive line. Brady is, he's 44 years old playing quarterback. I mean, it's unbelievable that he was able to make it that far. Mike Evans only had 6 touchdowns last year. This year he has 10. He has a touchdown in 4 straight games. The only games he hasn't had a touchdown in is week 4. And, he got hurt in that game. Against the Lions, he didn't have a touchdown in week 6. And then against the Texans, he didn't have a touchdown either in week 9. But, if Baker puts more air under that long pass, in that game. Mike Evans has a touchdown in that game too, and then he doesn't have a touchdown in 2 games. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think about Mike Evans. Future Hall of Famer. Yeah, I think so. But where would you rank him? Among the wide receivers. I mean, obviously all time is, he's still got some years left to get him higher on the list. But yeah, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer. You keep this consistency up, yeah. You got that Super Bowl championship. What he's been able to do with the quarterbacks the quarterback carousel that he's had to deal with over the course of his career. Yeah, I mean, one of the more consistent wide receivers out there, and somebody that's been a part of my my fantasy teams the last couple of years. Hopefully, I could get my championship this year with him. Because right now my team in my main league is 11-2, and I'm hoping that I could get it done. I'm a little nervous still because, again, you never know. Any given Sunday, any given week, things happen. But hopefully Mike Evans can help me win another championship. That would be nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this topic. We'll see where Mike, and we still got some games left. So Mike Evans is obviously going to, knock on wood, he stays healthy. Stats are only going to be better by the end of the year, and hopefully, the Bucs can find their way in the playoffs. I'm hoping for it, but I don't think it's going to happen. So, but you know what? If they win on Sunday, that is a step in the right direction because I think they're better than the Falcons, and they already beat the Saints. And look how the Saints are. The Bucs could definitely take advantage of it, but I mean, they lost that close game at home against the Falcons, despite Desmond Ridder turning the ball over a bunch of times. The defense is going to have to step up too. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how Sunday goes. But yeah, that is pretty much it with the show for today. Definitely a variety of different topics that we went through today. Obviously wanted to get the Florida State stuff in because I know that's a big thing. And get your guys' thoughts as well. Obviously, the power rankings is something we cover every week. The draft order is probably going to be something that we at least talk about once from here on out, the rest of the way. But and then of course Mike Evans, because that was a big thing too, and conversation that I've had with my friends too recently, about him, and the kind of career that he has had. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to look out for the shorts that I will have coming out throughout the day. Of course, I'm going to have yesterday's show reposted as well into the 4 parts. So if you missed anything, you can check that out. The full live stream is still up. So if you just want to go to that, that is also there too. But other than that, that is all the time that we have for today. I thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.